claimed the dawn, though many still hoped for the sun. In Portland, Jamaica, mornings like this were nothing new. The downpour swept through the valley, wrapping the hills in a soft, shifting mist. Zinc roofs sang beneath the steady drumming, a rhythm both soothing and relentless. Inside a small house, Jasmine lay beside Mike. The storm carried a quiet seduction, its music stirring something deep within her. She turned toward him, drawn by the mood, by the closeness, by the pull of the rain. Mike did not respond. He lay still, distant in a way she could feel but could not name. It was more than rejection. Something heavier pressed between them, something unspoken. Mike knew it was not the rain that had awakened her desire. Something else lingered beneath the surface, something he could not ignore. They had been together for 5 years. For the past 3 months, something had changed. Every night, she turned him away. "Not tonight, Mike. I'm not in the mood." The words came so often they lost their meaning. 3 months of distance, 3 months of excuses, 3 months of her back turned to him in bed. And now, suddenly, she wanted him. Now she was warm, close, reaching. Now she spoke of wanting a baby. It was not just the change that unsettled him, but the timing of it. Too sudden, too convenient. As if something had shifted, not between them, but somewhere outside of him. A few days earlier, Mike had found it, a pregnancy test wrapper in the bin. He had not needed to see the result. He knew. That was the moment everything fell into place. Jasmine was pregnant, and the child was not his. The woman he loved, the woman he had planned a future with, was carrying another man's child and lying beside him as if nothing had changed. Jasmine moved closer, slow and deliberate, as though testing the distance between them. Her hand rested against his chest, warm against his skin. She waited for him to respond. Mike did not move. The rain filled the space between them, steady and unbroken. It gave him something to focus on, something safer than the thoughts pressing at the edges of his mind. She shifted again, pressing closer this time. Her breath brushed against his shoulder. "Mike," she said softly. He kept his eyes closed. For a moment, she lingered there, as if expecting him to turn, to meet her halfway. When he did not, her hand tightened slightly against him. "You're not even going to look at me?" she asked. There was no accusation in her voice, only a quiet confusion that might have sounded genuine to anyone else. Mike opened his eyes slowly, staring into the dim light filtering through the window. The mist outside blurred everything, just like the thoughts in his head. "I'm looking," he said, though he still faced away. She let out a small breath, somewhere between a sigh and a laugh. "Then why are you acting like this?" He did not answer right away, because the answer was too large, too heavy. It sat in his chest like something alive, something waiting. 3 months of distance, 3 months of cold space between them. Now suddenly, she was close again. Too close. Mike swallowed, his jaw tightening. He understood Jasmine's intentions clearly. She wanted intimacy, not for love, but to secure a story she could stand on, one where he could be named as the father. She made one last desperate attempt. This time, her lips kissed his back slowly, lingering with a teasing softness, while her tongue traced a gentle path up his spine. Her hands moved with a quiet, inviting warmth around his waist and beneath his pajamas, as if she knew exactly how to turn him on. Mike felt something beyond irritation, something deeper, something closer to disgust. "Stop," he said, catching her hand mid-motion. "Enough." He pushed her hand away and stood up. "You have it all planned, don't you?" he said. Jasmine sat up, her face tightening with confusion. "What are you talking about?" she replied. Mike let out a short, forceful laugh, edged with mockery. "Don't pretend. You know exactly what I'm talking about." "I really don't know what you are talking about," she said, her voice turning defensive. "Okay," he said calmly. "You don't know." "I really don't," she repeated. He shook his head slowly, as if confirming something to himself. "Let's start with the pregnancy test," he said. He watched her closely, not just for her words, but for the spaces between them, for the flicker, the hesitation, the truth people often failed to hide. Jasmine frowned. "Pregnancy test," she repeated. "Oh my gosh!" For a split second, something flickered across her face, too quick to hide, too real to deny. The confusion faded, replaced by a faint, almost incredulous smile. "Mike," she said, her voice lowering, "you went through the garbage." His jaw tightened, a slow, controlled anger settling in his chest. "Accidentally," he said quickly, "but don't try to distract from the truth." She nodded once, almost to herself, as if something had just clicked into place. "Yeah," she said quietly. "That was my sister's." She paused. "She's been trying to get pregnant for a while now," Jasmine continued, her voice softening. "She waited too long, and now she's having complications." Jasmine's gaze dropped, and tears streamed down her cheeks. She pulled the sheet up to her face, her fingers gripping the fabric tightly. "Not wanting to face the disappointment alone," she whispered. "She came here and did the test." Mike said nothing. Jasmine looked up at him. It was negative. She held his gaze just a second too long. Seeing the pain in her eyes and the sincerity in her voice, something shifted in Mike. The certainty he had clung to faltered. I'm so sorry to hear that," he said. "Mike," she said softly, "my lack of interest wasn't about you. Work has been overwhelming. I've just been stressed." She gave a small, tearful smile. "You're so silly to think otherwise. My sister urged me not to repeat her mistake," she added quietly. "Not to wait too long." Mike looked down, shame settling in. He slipped back onto the bed. "I'm sorry," he said. But even as the words left his mouth, something inside him did not settle. It shifted instead, quieter now, pushed beneath the surface where it could not be easily named. Jasmine took his hand gently. "Come," she said softly. "Make it up to me." As the rain intensified outside, they gave in to each other, the tension between them dissolving into a passionate closeness. That morning, they made love again and again. Over the next 5 years, Mike and Jasmine welcomed 3 children into their lives. Moral: silence and assumptions can damage trust just as much as betrayal. If you enjoyed this story, consider liking and subscribing to Word, Sound, and Story for more dramatic tales by Troy Mackenzie.